wanted to chat through real quick how to Chaturanga. So Chaturanga is a staff pose, or four-limbed staff pose would be some of the common Western ways to express that pose. And it is a little hard for people to learn how to do at first. There are some big things that you should pay attention to alignment-wise when you are doing Chaturanga. And this is something that I see a lot when I teach. So after teaching this morning, I was inspired to come on and chat through things with you, just so that if you are building your yoga practice, you can be safe. So one of the first things that people do, one of the major issues anyway, that people show when they are first learning how to do Chaturanga is they think that they're doing a wide push-up, and so they keep their arms wide, and that actually can put strain on the shoulder and also on the backs of the arms where that muscle inserts at the elbow here. And so keeping your elbows wide, like a push-up when you come from like a high plank to a low plank, can actually create, again, injury, because it's putting a lot of stress on the joints. And so the most important thing that you need to remember when you are practicing Chaturanga is to keep your elbows in. When you are lowering down, you should actually feel the insides of your arms grazing your rib cage. Keep it hugged in nice and tight, and that will help protect your shoulders and your elbows. So if you are first beginning your yoga journey, I would recommend working from your knees, coming onto your knees for a high to low plank. And this is part of sun salutations, part of what in flow yoga we call a vinyasa. It's a high to low plank, then upward facing dog to downward facing dog transition. So this is a core yoga pose, which is why I wanted to spend some time talking about it. So I'll demonstrate what it's like when you're coming from your knees. So there's a tendency for a lot of people, because it's easier, to keep your hips up in the air a little bit and almost come to like a modified tabletop. You want to make sure when you're coming into it that your abs are pulled in and you're trying to create a straight line from your shoulders all the way down to your knees, or if you are staying on your toes, down to your toes. So make sure that you have that nice alignment. And again, I'm going to start with an inhale at the top of the Chaturanga. As I lower down, you can see I'm keeping my elbows in. I don't want to let them flare up. Again, that's bad. That can cause injury. So just keep your elbows in, keeping your core pulled in as you lower down, keeping that straight line from your shoulders all the way down to your knees. Lower down so that your forearms are in alignment with your back. If you're not strong enough to hover, you can simply lower down and then lift up from there. But as you're building strength, try to stay so that you're hovering. And this is really good for strengthening the backs of your arms as well. If you're working to get your triceps toned, so no jiggling when you're waving goodbye, that sort of thing, Chaturanga is a great pose to practice. So when you're practicing, just remember, elbows in, lower down slowly, trying to stack joints. So we're going to try and keep our wrists stacked under our elbows. If you have a wrist injury like I do, I have limited flexibility in this wrist, and so the placement of this hand will be a little bit different. That's okay, do what you can, but trying to keep your hand stacked beneath your elbow and then keeping your shoulder in alignment. So that's my tips for Chaturanga.